Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are two of the greatest quarterbacks of their generation. Although it's way too early to say that either man's career is over, when they crossed paths on Sunday, neither of them gave us the fireworks we're used to seeing. While Brady vs. Rodgers is still considered a marquee matchup, but has their rivalry become a thing of the past? Stay tuned to find out. First off, let's talk about the marquee match. If the match on Sunday was the last time we saw two of the best quarterbacks in NFL history play against each other, the game will be remembered more for the tension rather than for either man raging against the dying of the light. One of them has been raging against electronics, though. Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers won 8 Super Bowls and 7 MVP awards between them. The former has won 7 Super Bowls and the latter 4. Along with Peyton Manning, Brady and Rodgers are the best quarterbacks of their generation. It's easy to forget that Manning is only a year older than Brady. People who thought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Green Bay Packers would score a lot of points on Sunday were probably let down. Despite Brady's best efforts, the Bucs were unable to score in the first half and trailed by 14 points to the Falcons. Even though Rodgers started the game on a better note, completing 2 touchdown passes despite facing stiff resistance from the Bucs defense. In the third quarter, both players were largely ineffective. Gone were the explosive plays and the passion on the field that has made them so successful over the years. In the last few minutes of the game, however, Brady started to act like himself again. He led the Bucs on a 15-play, 89-yard drive that ended with a touchdown pass to Russell Gage, but the Bucs were called for a delay of game on the 2-point conversion, which put them behind 14-12. The Packers won the game after Brady's pass to tie the game was deflected 5 yards away from the end zone. Next up, does Rodgers have his head in the game? While it's too soon to say that either man is done, it wouldn't be surprising if they played each other again in the NFC Championship game this season. Even though Rodgers has been the league MVP for the last 2 years, Brady still had 3 more Super Bowl rings to win at Rodgers' age. Even if Rodgers is a little bit below his peak, it's still a hell of a peak to come down from. Brady, on the other hand, is more of a concern because his timing has been off for most of the season, and the 45-year-old has shown his frustration on the sidelines. But there were some other problems too. He's actually been written off about 89 times now, with his offensive line and receiving core having been hurt. 3 of the top Bucs receivers, Julio Jones, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, did not play on Sunday, and Brady played with an injured finger on his throwing hand. On the other hand, Rodgers completed 27 of 35 passes for 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 1 sack. While those are good numbers, the Packers scored 2 touchdowns on their first 2 possessions. After that, the Bucs defense shut down the Packers offense every time they had the ball. But despite all of that, and all their star power, on Sunday it felt like the Brady vs. Rodgers rivalry may no longer have any fireworks on the field. Moving on to the fans' dream rivalry. Before the game started on Sunday, Brady had a 3-1 record and Rodgers was looking to close the gap in their meeting. In 2006, when the athletes met for the first time, Rodgers was still trying to make a name for himself, while Brady had already won 2 Super Bowls. Brady's Patriots beat the Packers 35-0 in their first ever meeting, but Rodgers was still Brett Favre's backup at the time, so this doesn't count as a starting quarterback game. When Rodgers came in, he only completed 4 of 12 passes, but he saw how powerful Brady was. But when Rodgers officially played against Brady for the first time in 2014, the Packers won 26-21 at Lambeau Field. Rodgers threw for 368 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Brady went on to win the Super Bowl that season, even though his team lost. The next time the two played each other was 4 years later in 2018. This time, Brady won as the Patriots beat the Jets 31-17 at Gillette Stadium, and they went on to win the Super Bowl again that year. And their last game took place while Brady was in Tampa, which also went in Brady's favor. In the regular season of 2020, Brady beat the Packers by a score of 38-10, but their NFC Championship win over the Packers in 2021 was their best matchup to date. The Bucs won a close game, 31-26 at Lambeau Field, and then went on to win the Super Bowl. Even with some intense matchups on their resume, we're most excited about Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen for the next few years. That leads us to a rivalry in the making. In recent years, a game between Aaron Rodgers, a former Cal star, and Tom Brady, who's been called the best quarterback in history, has been seen as the NFL quarterback's dream matchup. However, the AFC has another quarterback showdown that rivals Rodgers versus Brady when it comes to excitement and viewer appeal. That game is between quarterbacks Patrick Mahomes of Kansas City and Josh Allen of Buffalo, named the younger version of the Rodgers-Brady rivalry that is picking up steam. Last year's playoff game between Mahomes and Allen introduced us to their rivalry, and the Chiefs won 42-36 in overtime. The Chiefs and the Bills are 2-0 so far this season, and by the looks of it, they could be the best teams in the AFC. Allen has the best passer rating in the NFL this season, and Mahomes is right behind him in second place. Mahomes has beaten Allen's Bills 3 out of 4 of the times they've played, played. The Bills and Chiefs don't play each other during the regular season of 2022, but they will likely meet in the playoffs. However, the most interesting thing about the rivalry between Mahomes and Allen is that it's just getting started. There are going to be a lot of great games between the two in the future. With Sunday's game being most likely the last matchup between Brady and Rodgers, it could mean that Mahomes vs. Allen will replace their great rivalry very soon. Moving to other news, Tagovailoa's hit cast doubts on the NFL's concussion protocol. When Tua Tagovailoa hurt his head on Sunday, the NFL says that its concussion protocols were followed. The quarterback had to be carried off the field on a stretcher on Thursday after taking another head injury, after being thrown to the ground so hard that he lay contorted in a way that it seemed he may have suffered a brain injury. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa was released from the hospital and allowed to fly home with his team a couple of hours later. Coach Mike McDaniel told reporters before leaving that seeing his quarterback fall on the field was an emotional moment, but he was relieved that the quarterback only had a concussion. For people who've been pushing the NFL to be more aggressive about head injuries, the words went against the league's message that it was taking the problem seriously, especially after a $1 billion settlement with former players who had brain damage from playing football. Next up, NFL's Pro Bowl gets a complete makeover. The Pro Bowl has some big changes coming its way. The NFL is getting rid of its All-Star game with full contact play and replacing it with a week of skills competitions and a flagged football game. The new event will be called the Pro Bowl Games, and over several days, AFC and NFC players will show off their football and other skills and challenges. The 2023 games will be in Las Vegas, and the flag football game will start on Sunday, February 5th at Allegiant Stadium. That's a week before the Super Bowl in Arizona. Peyton Manning and his company, Omaha Productions, will help shape the event's programming and spread the word about it all week. Finally, ending it all with Brady. For now, the quarterback is in what could be the worst moment of his NFL career and could use some expert advice from someone like Jordan Peterson. Brady, who is 45 at the moment, isn't only having trouble on the field, throwing only 3 touchdowns in the same number of games, but he's also having problems in his personal life. When Brady said he was retiring at the end of last season, his model wife, Gisele Bündchen, thought she would finally get to spend more time with her husband, but the athlete had only been out of the NFL for less than 2 months when he said he would play at least one more season. The announcement came shortly after meeting with Manchester United forward Cristiano Ronaldo at Old Trafford, and well, let's just say we don't know how Bündchen is taking the news. That's a wrap for this video. Let us know about the rivalries you're most excited about. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all NFL news, and we'll see you next time.